The naked version of wilderness solitude is coming. Also facing challenges alone. Only they didn't have any clothes on them. In addition to the equipment provided in the opening. Everything else we make ourselves. Some people can catch large catfish with their bare hands. You can see how fresh this meat is. Some people don't even get a chance with their bows. You really need to practice. Let's see who's up for the challenge. The players are trickling into the copy. I've done challenges before, but this time alone for 21 days. Plus, no one has local wilderness survival experience. It's harder than ever. Anyway, why don't you just take your clothes off? Some can't wait to get started. I don't know who you think will be the first to leave. Everyone is in their own area. An alliance is impossible. Only by their own strength to complete the challenge. Let's take a look at Shane first. She has put on her assigned dress. I'm a wilderness survival instructor myself. Participate in various training, both on a technical level. In terms of psychological quality, Cheun thinks he's okay. It worked out pretty well in the last challenge. Losing a partner doesn't make a difference, does it? The main thing is confidence. The only thing I worry about is the temperature. It's too cold in the desert, after all. Without fire, it literally freezes into ice at night. Don't look at walking now. Actually, this little bush is pretty sharp. It's like the meat's going to be cut off. Plus, it's only in the teens. The cold made the car shiver. Except for the usual gear. She also brought fishing tools. The show prepared skins for the contestants. At least they don't freeze people out the first day. Karin think the program group finally did a personnel. She can't wait to roll up and go to bed. Anyway, now we gotta find a place to camp, okay? Take advantage of the physical strength at the start, trying to get as close to the extraction point as possible. The show gave her a good rating. Chane kept on walking away like this. Finally found a water source. What's surprising is that the catfish is just lying there. Oh man, can we start with barbecue? Unfortunately, time does not permit. Cheun has to build shelter and a fire first. Come back tomorrow and try to catch catfish. And Susan on the other side, still looking for the right place. This is her 5th time taking part in the challenge. There is encouragement and help from partners in the front. Face challenges alone. I still feel a little lonely, although said twice not done. But she thinks she's okay. You have to prove yourself. However, ants got to him in the first place. All kinds of creatures were waiting nearby. The shelter needs to be ready before dark. How else would you stay up until dawn? This is a tropical rainforest. The jungle is a tough place to walk. Plus rain from time to time. I've been torturing people to death. And all kinds of gadgets crawling up on you. Susan thought this was a real human challenge. They're all here. What does she say to the end? We need to get the shelter up and running. So far it's going well. Keep going at this pace. Susan is confident he can take on the challenge. And look here at Friendo. I was a little lost. The sounds of various animals. I'm afraid we're going to start with a fight. As a fire chief, often have to face all kinds of complicated situations. Judgment needs to be made quickly. But come for the challenge. I was all kinds of entanglements. Don't know where to go. The first few challenges were fine. Just facing new circumstances. You really need to think about it. Spiders are pretty venomous over here. Frando didn't want to pull out of the challenge because of injury. There are a lot of dangerous animals around. I can't feed them on my own. I asked the show crew for a bow. It's the only way to feel better at night. We need to get to the water now. We need the shelter done before dark, or the neighbors will really miss it at night. The previous 3 challenges were successfully completed. In theory, there's no problem this time, okay? It's when a person gets panicky. There are many potholes in the road. It's clear that elephants are also looking for water. Save yourself the digging. Wouldn't waste time looking for water here. He can follow the elephants to the water source. The camera goes to Carla. She's halfway through the shelter. Try to get the fire done before dark. The challenge was going pretty well. One time it didn't work out. The environment was worse then than it is now. She is confident that she can complete the challenge. Not that I had any trouble hunting before, but really facing challenges alone, I still feel a little panicked, especially because of dangerous creatures at night. Shelter and fire are especially important. I can't sleep at night. I thought having a firearm would be easy, but it's wetter than I thought. Carla tried for a long time, but it didn't work. Every time it goes out after a while. I'm a little down right now, though, but we have to keep trying. It's too dangerous to be out in the open without fire. Frando is still looking for water. It's so hot he's kind of screaming, Mommy. Suddenly, I saw an elephant ahead of me. There's no way to hunt. He just wanted to get a sip of water. Look at the elephant drinking so happily. I'm too embarrassed to bother. I was thinking about taking a detour. Suddenly, the nearby animals started running. Frendo's CPU is drying out. Is there anything exciting going on here? It doesn't matter that much. Check the water source first. Unfortunately, no stream passes through here. It's barely a water source. Let's find a place to build a shelter first. Kara's still fighting the fire. The surrounding humid environment. Make yourself feel really bad. I can't help but think back to the failure of the last challenge. The mood is getting lower and lower. I mean, it's all in my head, but the hand keeps working. It took a while to get some fire out. Carla takes care of it. A good night's sleep depends on the fire. Wait until the flames burst into flames. The hanging heart is finally relaxed. At least tonight, there's no fear of an animal attack. Try to get a roast tomorrow. Cheun's finished with the shelter. She needs to gather more firewood before it gets dark. Compared to rainforests and grasslands, I think the desert challenge is more difficult. After all, the show provided the hides. You can imagine how cold it gets at night. Susan's shelter is only a half-finished project. If the ground wasn't infested with ants, you don't have to build a platform. Although people think there's a lot to eat here. But Susan's really taking it a little hard. I'm worried it's going to rain tonight. This shelter doesn't even know if it's going to hold. It's been a long day, so I guess it's done. It's just not very comfortable lying on it. And Frendo listened to the animals. The mood is very uneasy. I don't know if the shelter can hold up now. The buffalo were just walking around next door, most afraid of an elephant stomping itself into a patty. Don't expect to sleep at night. A little bit of squinting would be nice. At night, Cheun even with hides and flames, still shivering with the cold. As much as I want to lie down and sleep, but it's really cold. Kara's also facing a storm. We don't know if we can hold the fire. Firewood is quite plentiful at present. She's going to slowly move the fire inside. Avoid being extinguished by heavy rain. There are a lot of carnivores around Frendo. Right now, that's a lot of tension. He could even feel the animals breathing. I don't expect to sleep tonight. Others are still worried about being attacked. Susan's been overrun by crawlers. Worst of all, the rain is falling. Let's just hope it's not a storm. But it didn't help. The rain is getting heavier and heavier. She had to put some branches on it for a roof. I can barely sleep down there at night. The challenge continued today too. The grass is starting to frost and shane. The stockpile of firewood is almost gone. I'm going to collect a bunch every day. The worst part is there aren't any nearby. I had to look further afield. My toes have gone numb. I just want to put it in the fire. Cheun is going to cut part of the hide off. It's only better if you wrap your feet. It takes more material than you thought. She thought it was worth it. Would rather curl up at night. I don't want to get frostbite on my feet. Now, we just need to sew the line back together. 100% pure leather shoes. Warm and do not wear feet. The mood is so good. There are a lot of animals here in Frendo. He's going hunting. I was hoping we could get some barbecue. It's the hyena pack that's a little tricky. They're more ferocious than lions. He felt like he was in a zoo. Are they really all kinds of animals? Now we need to find an ambush and wait. This is the best place to go for a spin. Use the surrounding branches to decorate. In theory, there should be a gazelle to drink. Even if it's a small head, it'll feed itself to the end. I'm afraid it might scare the nearby elephants. When they come at us, no one can hold them off. I can only be more careful. To cover up the smell, he smeared the elephant on his body. It makes me sick to think about it, but it does work. The antelope on the other side of the river didn't see them, cautiously approaching the front. It's only the second day someone's going to eat meat. Frando was just about to shoot. There was a cry from the herd. Man, you don't even give yourself a chance to try. Susan was a lot worse off. I didn't sleep well all night. When I woke up, I had to put up the roof. The question is now raining again. The happiness is not great. I can still work. It's hard just to rekindle the fire. The wood around here is wet. Plus, it's already damp. It doesn't matter how powerful the firearm is. I had to look around for other materials. The best option right now is a termite nest. Just one part is enough. Save the rest for later. It does get a lot better when you join the termite nest. But it still didn't light the fire. We had a partner to keep us warm. I'm on my own now. The body can really get frostbite without fire. So busy from day to night. And yet there was no light. The mood is so low. Now I have to carry it until dawn. Day 3 of the challenge. Che-un is going to make a fish spear. Let's see if we can catch that catfish. The wood around here would be a good fit. Just a few clicks with a machete. Now we just need to process it from the middle. It was a little big after all. The hardness of this tip has to be sharp. Place on the fire to harden. It'll be a lot better like this. Che-un has faith in the hunt. Now here's the problem. The catfish I saw earlier didn't know where to go. When Che-un was stealing for the show, the catfish are basking next door. Che-in cautiously approached. The catfish is smoother than expected. There's nothing the weapon can do about it. In the end, you have to do it with your hands. Boy, such a big catfish. Enough to feed her for days. Che thought if I could get a few more. The rest of the day will be easier. Not so good with Susan. The fire wasn't even built. I can't even sleep at night. Only squint a little when the sun comes out. She now goes to find dry wood, plus the termite nest from before. Theoretically, it should be able to ignite. Try to light it as soon as you get back. But the magnesium bars are running out. There's still not a spark here. Should we switch to a bow drill for fire? The mood is so broken. She didn't expect the fire to be so difficult. You have to gather as much material as you can. I hope it goes well. Compare that to Che-un here. I'll see how bad things are for Susan. The water has boiled on the other side of the pot. You can start enjoying a catfish feast. Every bite is collagen. It feels like it doesn't even need to be cooked. It's even more delicious when eaten raw. Too bad there's no seasoning to spice it up. Otherwise, the little life will be more comfortable. Little challenges to take. And this is where Susan is being held. The shelter wasn't meant to be sheltered. There's no fire yet. I've been able to fight it so far. It really depends on the fat you usually accumulate. Go on like this. I'm not going to make it through the week. The thunder was getting louder and louder. It's getting worse and worse. Except to hold yourself tight. There's really nothing you can do. What's the challenge here? It's like torturing myself. Anyone else wouldn't have been able to handle it. Day 4 of the challenge. Susan has been tortured to death. There's a lot of gaunt visible to the naked eye. Even if I managed to light the fire yesterday, a leak in the roof would extinguish it. Susan thought about this for a long time. Is there really nothing that can be done to change the situation? I can't spend the rest of the night like this. The only way she could think of, that is to give up the challenge and go home. It's the only way we don't have to worry about rain. The show crew is going to come and ask questions right away. You know, Susan can still hang on if he tries. It's just that she's broken. Mentally, you've decided you've failed. No matter what the show tells you, Susan doesn't even think he can do it. As soon as it gets dark, it's all over. The show respects the wishes of the contestants. So Susan gave up the challenge on the 4th day. It is much harder to face the challenge alone, or how the other contestants did. Let's hope we don't give up the challenge so soon. If you ask what do you look forward to most in wilderness survival, I'm sure it wasn't for naked survival. I want to see what the contestants eat. Players with better luck. That's the worm that eats the fruit. That's several times the protein of beef. Of course, there are powerful people. Just grab the chameleon in your hands. Most people probably have it. It tastes like a tunnel. Real name recommended to try. The challenge continued on the 4th night. Chaun is enjoying a catfish feast. The one we caught weighs 15 pounds. Don't worry about going hungry for a week. You don't have any spices to use. It's either roast or boil. It's all about the freshness of the ingredients themselves. What could be more comfortable right now? Other players were not so lucky. Like Taylor was a little nervous in the beginning. I've tried being out in the wilderness by myself before. But that was before she was a woman. I don't really care what other people think. The most important thing is to be happy with yourself. The equipment provided is still relatively comprehensive. What's interesting is Tyler didn't have a firearm. She didn't think it was the right place for a field challenge. I can make a fire by myself in various ways. So he gave up the firearm without looking back. Boy, you can take it with you. It's all over when you really need it. You know, the altitude is higher now. Even a firearm might not work. There are big cats out at night. It's really dangerous without fire protection. My challenge partner broke down. He was sad for a long time. Now the start is alone. It'll feel easier. She was going to camp in the trees near the water source. The resources there are absolutely abundant. Enough to last me 21 days. Hurry up and get there. It's just not a smooth walk. The rugged terrain and lack of oxygen. Your body uses more energy than you think. The show spoke highly of Taylor. Feel very hopeful to complete the challenge. It took a while to get to the river. Tyler feels really tired, as much as I'd like to lie down. But the asylum gains have to be kicked out. He intends to clear the ground. It doesn't have to be perfect. A place to lie down is enough. I'm very thirsty now. There was no time to try to make a fire. Had to dig a soak-away well next to the river. It can filter out most harmful substances. Don't look at the dirty water. Definitely cleaner than the river next door. Just hit the water with your hands and drink. It tastes better than I expected. Just a little too much physical exertion. I fought my fatigue and continued to perfect the shelter. As long as it doesn't rain heavily. This shelter is going to last a while. It must be too late to make a fire tonight. Make sure the shelter is comfortable. Now he just wanted to lie down and rest. Let's take a look at Jamie's situation. He was cutting a path for water with a machete. It's more dense than I thought. I'm a wilderness survival coach. I know exactly how challenging it is here. Now we need at least a walking path. It's hard to find a place to camp. My hands are numb from this whole walk. Although the first challenge was a comfortable one, there is no need to worry about food and drink. But he broke down on the second challenge. He broke down in just 2 days. This time I was able to come back for the challenge. I was very nervous, not as blindly confident as before. He will work hard to complete the challenge step by step. It's just that this thick swamp isn't easy either. There are annoying gnats everywhere. Too many bites will cause problems sooner or later. Jamie just wants to get the shelter ready. Although the environment here is worse than the last challenge. But I was prepared in advance. Just stick to the plan. Theoretically, if there was a fire to drive away the mosquitoes, there's still a chance we'll make it to the end. Hurry up and get the fire out first. The material here is relatively dry. Jamie has to get the wood done. Get as many shavings as you can. This is a more successful way to use a firearm. It took a while to light it up, as long as it's not raining when the shelter is built. Day 1 was the perfect start. No sooner had he said that than thunder was heard. Let's just say Jamie's not having much luck. In case the fire goes out, he has to watch from outside the cave. All we can do now is gather more firewood. Make sure you can keep the fire going overnight. Jamie thinks it's okay. At least for now, my body can handle it. The camera goes to Taylor. She wanted to have a good rest, but it's not a very good shelter. Plus, there's no flame to keep mosquitoes away. Has been bitten a little skeptical life. It's not so good with Jamie either. There are bumps all over the skin. A little worried about what happened before. He didn't want to be crushed by mosquitoes again. Now except for the howl of incompetence. There's really nothing you can do, you know. Any beat is a patch of gnats. The mood is very bad. The challenge continued to day 2. Jamie has been badly bitten by mosquitoes. He was all red. Sooner or later, he'll be sent home for this. What can you do to keep mosquitoes away? He would rather face the lion. I don't want to be around mosquitoes. All I can think of so far is termite nests. Although most players use it later. Didn't think it worked, but it's the best you can find in the wild. Jamie soon found a big guy. Don't even think about it. Just bring it back. If this doesn't work, I'm afraid it's hard to continue the challenge. Plus the protection of mosquito nets. Jamie feels like he's on his feet again. Tyler's got a lot of gnats too. She doesn't even know what to say. Okay, you should have soaked it in insect repellent before you got here. I don't want to be bitten all the time. Tyler kept whipping his body. If you don't know, you think you're dancing. The mood is getting angrier anyway. I'd like to burn this place down. She admitted she didn't have a firearm. It was a little louder, but I still insist on the bow drill fire. We'll not give up because of mosquito harassment. It's just that the materials around it aren't quite right. This is the only wood that's a little better. Take it back for processing. Taylor often uses a bow drill to start a fire. The wood isn't perfect though, but we can make up for it with technology. Feel no matter where. I can light it up on my own. It's time to show the real tech. We thought there would be ashes soon, but try again and again. I can't even hold it when I rub it. It made Tyler's mouth smell sweet. There is a difference between theory and practice. So now go back and get the firearm. Maybe we can get the fire going before dark. This could take days. Tyler still hasn't got the fire going. She was a total emotional wreck. Day 5 of the challenge. Frando is still trying to hunt. I wish I could eat the whole antelope. Only the ambush site was destroyed by the herd. There's still a lot of poop up there. There's nothing you can do with them. We got everything we need for the early stages. Lack of food to fill the stomach. The mood is getting lower and lower. Mingming practiced shooting every day before he came here. All kinds of tricky angles are fine. Now he wants that bird in the riverbed to practice. The two sides still have a long way to go. I was slowly approaching the target. Before they know it, Frendo took a straight shot at it. There were no surprises. I'll be hungry again tonight. The camera goes to Che-un. The temperature at night was really low. Every now and then you have to get up and add firewood. I wish I could get some bigwood back. You don't have to worry about it going out all night. Don't look at her so close to the fire. But it will be cold and shivering. It's even worse on Jamie's side. It's been raining there all night. He had to stay by the fire. It was kind of sad. I didn't expect a frog. Of course, Jamie won't let the food go. He's a pretty big guy. I just had it for breakfast. I'm feeling a little better. Jamie thought he could just stab it. I can't believe this frog wants to live. One jump and get out of here. Jamie was totally unaware of it. I waited until dawn to find out. Does he even doubt he caught it last night? Why does it seem like a dream? Maybe some other animal took it away. Anyway, the mood is not beautiful. The camera goes to Che-un, waking up in the cold every day. The lip is split on the other side. Everything is covered with frost. If it wasn't for the hide, I wouldn't be able to stay for half a day, but endure the cold every night. It's really not something that most people can accept. She really wanted to ask the show crew. I don't know who picked this place. If you have an opinion about yourself, just say it. Now we need to find a way to perfect the shelter. The best thing is to build a small house. This will keep out the cold wind. It also keeps the heat inside. The branch can no longer satisfy itself. We're going to need rocks to keep us warm. It takes a lot of energy though. Now we need some Y-shaped branches for support. She intends to build such a structure. Maximum heat retention. It takes a lot of energy, you can see that. Che-un is also worried that the shelter is not ready. I can't hold myself down anymore. The finished product looks pretty good. Pack the rest of the catfish into your belly. I don't know where I can catch these again. The camera goes to Frendo. The ambush site was destroyed by the herd. There's no choice but to look elsewhere now. Actually, the neighborhood looks pretty much the same. This is where the vegetation is a little bit richer. A lot of animals from next door came to drink. Too big to handle on your own. Preferably something smaller. I hope the elephants don't come back. Frendo waited for a long time. I didn't think anyone was going to show up. Take the bow and aim now. Nothing happened, and the antelope was there laughing at him. So angry that Frendo shoots another arrow. Turns out he's really bad at it. Frendo quibbled. It's not that my seconds are not accurate. The show gave us a bow. No. They say they scare their prey right after they shoot. Unless you can get closer. It's too hard to shoot from long range. Taylor's got a lot of material here. Now let it dry out in the sun. Hopefully this will improve the fire success rate. She's just too stubborn. If we start with a firearm, where does it take so much time and energy? Tyler's gonna go get some water now. The seep well is getting dirtier. She thought she might as well drink the river water. Running water is not necessarily safe though, but at least you'll feel better psychologically. Now, let's see if we can make a fire. Tyler's pinning all his hopes on this. However, the effect is not as good as expected. Often I can't hold it in half, except for the incompetent roar. Can't think of anything to do. It was so close. She thought the challenge was hopeless. Do we really have to go back for the firearm? So many days of persistence seems like a joke. Tyler couldn't just walk away from the challenge, but can't seem to get the fire started. The camera goes to Jamie. Traces of mosquito bites have subsided quite a bit. Turns out termite nests are kind of useful. I'm not going to get stung home this time. Go see what's good around here. It'd be nice to get some meat. It's a nice thought. It would be nice to pick up some fruit. You look for nuts with holes in them. That bug in there is the real treat. Good harvest today. A big bag full of nuts. More protein in theory than a cow. In order to facilitate their own worm out. And a branch to hold it in place. Just grab the nut like this. I don't have to worry about cutting my hand off. Bugs taste really good. It's kind of like eating coconut. The mood is getting better and better. The camera goes to Friendo. Still waiting for the prey to come. Patience is a real thing. It's just the elephants are next door. Even if there's a real prey walking in front of us. I dare not disturb the opposite side. We can only hope they leave soon. Friendo was suddenly excited. Man, I didn't even get a good look. Just say you got it. That was a pretty quick move. I mean, small is small, but it's nice to have something to eat. But then again, he's never had a chameleon in his whole life. Are you sure this tastes good when cooked? It doesn't matter that much anymore. Take the chameleon back to the grill immediately. Don't expect any seasoning, okay? It has to be 100% authentic. The meat tastes better than expected. Kind of like eating chicken. It's a really good dish. But I hope we get some meat. I think the worst thing is Taylor right now. There's no protection from fire. You'll be getting mosquito bites all night. It always feels like something's going down the hole. Hardly any sleep. Every now and then I get a bite. If I could live my life again, I would have brought a firearm. I've been tortured into losing my temper. Take a look at Cheun. The new shelter was not as warm as expected. The rocks over here are freezing cold. It's not as comfortable as a tree branch. Chin's kind of regretting the shelter. It's really like the inside of the freezer. Each player records the time, so that the days can be looked forward to. Otherwise, your mental state will deteriorate. That's what you wake up to every day. Day after day. The challenge is on its 7th day. All Tyler's thinking about right now is a firearm. He's wondering if the show ever recycled it. I really need fire. Why didn't you bring it with you? There's no point in saying more now. If there's no fire tonight, she may have to give up the challenge and go home. Think long and hard. Finally decided to go back for the firearm. The drill made a fire and hurt itself. The way back is uphill. You can imagine the energy consumption. She's probably the first one back to the starting line. And there's a lot of rotting leaves on the mountain. These increase carbon dioxide levels. Breathing that was becoming more and more difficult. Tyler's having a hard time with himself. You can only take a break every time you walk. Cheun is very cold here. She doesn't know why the shelter didn't work. At least it used to be physically tough. Now my whole body is shaking. It's the stones or the lack of firewood. My toes are starting to go numb. Is it really going to get cold? I wonder how the other contestants did. Let's wait and see. If you don't want to starve in the wild, then learn from the gods. The most common is this termite. Sour and sweet makes a great snack. With any luck, I can still pull out the crawfish without a hitch. It's easier to eat without the sting. Wild fruits are also easier to obtain. But like her, mangoes are free. Still in the minority. A reliable food source. You have to go into the water and catch fish. Even if it's just a small one. Those are important proteins. Not even the bones. If that doesn't get us food, I suggest we call for takeout. The challenge continues on the 7th day. Car inside cold doubt life. Not even with a fire. We had a good catfish catch. But the cold kept bothering me. The mood is getting lower and lower. To change that, no matter how tired she is, she will get up and work. Let's get the stone wall set up first. In this way, more heat is retained. The catfish would have been eaten by itself. Perfecting the shelter has been a real drain lately. Then we have to find a way to get food. I miss having a partner. At least we can cuddle at night. Just seal the roof off for now. Overall, it looks okay. I wonder how it works at night. And what about Taylor? Had to go back to the starting point to make a fire. Get back the firearm you gave up? How arrogant it was at the time. It was a mess when we started the fire. Grossly overestimate your ability to make fire. He was already weak. This will make the hole more tired. Now it's all about willpower. It was supposed to be an hour away. She still hasn't arrived after 3 hours of walking. The walking speed is getting slower and slower. She also showed signs of heat stroke. Even if we get the firearm back, I don't think there's any chance of going back. Carla's side is a little better. At least there's a fire to keep us warm. There just wasn't enough food. The belly is always protesting. I was going to get some fruit to calm me down. Lucky to find a pile of mangoes. If it's all mature, I can do that on my own for a long time. The mood is so excited. Just a little more meat in the back. This challenge is 100% achievable. Carla was confident in herself, and Shunny was good when she got here. The preliminary work was done well. It's just getting a little clammy over here. The challenge was like this before. It's going to attract a lot of mosquitoes. Now it's starting to rain again. She didn't like it at all. I'd rather face the heat and the sun. I don't want to face a rainy day. Now I can only use my body to protect the fire. If this goes out, it's hard to rekindle, despite trying hard. But I can't stop it. As soon as the fire goes out, it will be fine. Serious suspicion of being targeted. And there's nothing to prove it. Wildlife is very active here. Got to be careful about being remembered. Shunny will now gather the materials to rekindle it. I just saw a lot of animal droppings. These are just the thing to burn. For this challenge to be completed, I put on a lot of weight on purpose. Return to the place of origin. Shunny thought it was a blessing from her ancestors. What she is good at is fishing, as long as it's safe around here. Have the confidence to catch fish every day. But let's light the fire first. She was prepared for the solo challenge. I just didn't think it would be this hard. I'm glad I have a firearm. Otherwise, it will take a lot of time and energy. Smoother than ever. Shunny felt that the ancestral blessing must have played a role. And James was already crying because of the birds around him. It was easy for him to set a trap. Reusable is perfect for the situation here. I've had physical problems in previous challenges, although said to have completed the challenge, but all with the help of his teammates. This time I came alone for the challenge. The mood is very mixed. I hope the body stops messing around. Rhino tracks were found by the river. You can tell by the size of it that you're too big to mess with. If you accidentally get a little bit of it, I could have found a place to bury it right there. There are hippos splashing around in the water. It's not easy to get some water back. All James needs now is a rope. Wait for him to build the trap. These pigeons are all going into the belly. Come and challenge again. Families are very supportive of themselves. Father, in particular, encouraged him before he left. James wanted his father to teach him techniques from an early age. Put it in front of the cameras. Like this trap, I don't know how many times. It's really simple and effective. James has already completed the challenge twice. Both experience and skill. That's a good performance. I'm worried he's not going to be able to hold up. Next door, Shunny is devoted to fishing. She is very confident in her skills. And by the end of the day, nothing. We just have to keep going. Clearly, there are fish in the water. I don't know why they don't take the bait. The trap didn't work on James either. He thinks it's the wind. That's why the pigeons didn't eat it. No matter how he adjusts it, okay. The challenge continues on the 7th day. Let's go back to Taylor. I'm thirsty and tired now. She spends a lot of time and energy on it. Fortunately, the firearm was not recovered by the show. Tyler's trip wasn't for nothing. Just have to walk back again. Sooner or later, the body will let itself break down. If you want to continue the challenge, the fire must be lit tonight. After a short break, Tyler pushed on his way back. You have to stop to rest every short distance. It feels like it's going to fall any minute. The worst part is that the body doesn't sweat much. Heat stroke if there's no accident. How did she walk back to the shelter? Now all I can think about is gulping water. Not showing any signs of improvement. Still, we need to get the fire right. I wonder if a firearm doesn't work. Tyler was about to quit the challenge right then and there. She didn't want to be bothered by mosquitoes and cold all the time. Take no time to light the fire. One click and the flames come out. So what was the last few days? I'm going to have to bring it even if I don't need it. If you start with a firearm, I wouldn't be in this mess. The most important thing now is to get well, so you have a chance to complete the challenge. The challenge continued on the 8th day. Chae-un felt much warmer in the shelter. It's not like shaking your legs. Just find some more food. 21 days, that's no problem at all. Want to get the big catfish like before. The odds are not very high. If you had some little fish to fill you up. Chae found paw prints during his exploration. Looks a lot like a porcupine. If you can hunt it, don't talk about staying 21 days. A few more months wouldn't be a problem. Follow the trail immediately. I never thought I'd find her a hole. I don't know if Chae-un is in there, but the marks are very fresh. Make some smoke and smoke it right away. I wonder how she fights hand-to-hand in her tiny frame. There's no way we're going to get a porcupine. As the smoke grew thicker and thicker, Chae, in mood, is more nervous. Too bad the fire is out. I still don't see any pigs coming out. And look at Carla. She's already got a lot of stuff for the shelter. Eating mango every day makes my stomach a little uncomfortable. Still need the whole trap to catch the food. Let's get the materials sorted out first. All the gaps need to fit together. I wonder how well mango bait works. So far, so good. Only the food is too one-dimensional. Just need more protein to last a little longer for this challenge. My daughter ate a lot of high-calorie food with me. That's why I still have my strength. I thought it was just a matter of handling materials. I didn't think I'd hurt my hand. You know, the worst thing you can do in the wild is get infected. Carla seemed very calm. I thought it was nothing serious. I didn't realize I had to call a doctor. Carla is a real bitch. I don't know. I thought I touched paint. The doctor's going to be here soon. It didn't break any bones, and it didn't need stitches. It's just a little bit deep. It won't heal until the challenge is over. I feel fine after a little processing. Lucky it wasn't my dominant hand, but it will affect the work somewhat. If you accidentally infect the wound, then she has no choice but to withdraw with regret. The mood is so low. Chae-un has been strolling around the neighborhood several times. No sign of the porcupine. Serious suspicion is that she was scared off by another animal. Now I can only turn over the rock. See if you can get some protein on the clock. A termite like this is a good choice. It's good to eat. It really hurts when you bite. Chae's fingers are bleeding. That didn't stop her from indulging her cravings. I didn't expect a surprise. Scorpions taste better when cooked. It's like a crayfish to her. Once the stinger is removed, it's no problem. After being heated by a flame, it smells really, really good. It kind of smells like popcorn. It would be nice to have more. Carla finally got the trap ready. I broke my fingers in the process. A little bit, but not much of a problem. Sounds can often be heard around at night. She thought the trap would catch something, you know? Took a walk all over the place. Still thought this would be a good fit. In order to ensure a single kill, Carla brought the rock that's a little big, and this chunk of mango as bait. Believe that no animal can refuse. The most important step is to determine the balance. When they come and eat the bait, if you touch it, the rock will fall. The only concern, probably just afraid of the big animals passing by. It looks pretty good, just to see when we can get food. The more Kara looks at it, the happier she gets. If that's not enough to eat, I can only blame myself for the bad luck. And look at Shunny. I am addicted to fishing these days. So far, no fish have taken the bait. She thinks there's nothing wrong with her technique. Shouldn't you get nothing? As soon as I said that, I noticed that the fishing line was in stock. It's a very small fish, though. But for her, this is really a very important encouragement. At least it proves there's fish in it. If only they were a little bigger. Small fish are very quick to handle. She could use the entrails as bait. The days ahead are sure to get better. In order not to waste this rare food, try to cook it as long as possible. It'll break even the bones. The fish is a little bit smaller, but it tastes pretty good. For the first time, Shunny thought fish could taste so good. I guess I've been hungry too long. Even the bones were eaten with relish. She thinks she's pretty successful. Then you can spend more time fishing. Try to get a big fish tomorrow. Not so much luck with James. The trap never worked. I'm a little overwhelmed. Obviously, the bait wasn't attractive enough. He wants to go there for something delicious. But that's all we can find. Guess there's no chance of catching a bird. Huh. If I had known, I would have turned it into a fishing vessel. Maybe you can eat fish for the first few days. Since the bird trap was not successful, then make fish baskets and put them in the water. I see my friends who live in the wild must be familiar with this fish basket. Suddenly, there was an osprey in the sky, proving once again that there must be fish in the water. James could not wait to jump into the water and grab it. Speed up and get this done. It took about 5 hours. If only I had a partner to help. The finished product looks good after all this work. It's time to hit the water and set up. In theory, this trap is never going to land. I hope the other animals don't mess around when they come to drink. At night, Carla felt something was wrong. The neighborhood was louder than ever. I wonder what's bumping around. I don't think it made it to camp. If only it could knock itself out. Kara just quietly watched the outside, not sure what it is, except to make the fire a little hotter. Like there's nothing left to do. Take a closer look. Isn't that a leopard? Boy, she was so scared she just hugged herself. And so it came to the 9th day. Carla thinks it's still too dangerous. Let's see if there's any marks around here, okay. She figured she was just hanging out here. It was too close to the shelter. If not handled well, she's about to be brushed by them. James gave up hunting birds and went fishing. He thinks he's good at it, but the trap did not yield. If passivity doesn't work, then we have to take the initiative to tow. I hope it's a little bit of a surprise. I have to say James has a fast head. In this way, 2 fish are caught. Walk around here every day. I'm sure it's enough to feed myself. Too bad the size is a little small, but it's better than nothing, right? Eating that is a pleasure. I wouldn't have set up a bird trap if I'd known. Now the body that is more and more moist. It feels like 21 days isn't that hard. And once Tyler had built the fire, they didn't find the food they wanted. The body is getting tired. We can't keep looking like this. I can't count on protein. Just see which plants you can eat. Suddenly, a light rain began to fall. Taylor wasn't in the best of moods. When I looked up and saw how much rain was pouring, I found a snake on it. I wish I could catch that. It's 100% filling. Do you think Taylor's gonna make it? Lucky for those who want to lose weight. Naked Wilderness Weight Loss Camp is waiting for applicants. Come and experience the most authentic local cuisine. Make sure you don't add any technology or hard work. It's easy to stay for a day. Friends who are worried about keeping their mouths shut, let alone a 10-mile radius, even if there's not 100 miles to deliver, and all kinds of cute animals next door. You only have to stay 21 days and you get a bonus. What are you waiting for? Why don't you join us? Day 9 of the challenge. Tyler is attacking the snake in the tree. Unfortunately, it's too high. You can't even touch it. It's impossible to cut down a tree. Now the mood is very low. Can only look elsewhere. Even a little wild fruit is better than nothing. Suddenly, he noticed a papaya on a tree, even though Taylor was hammering hard. But where did the papaya go? I knew this would happen. Might as well cut down the tree. Tyler feels targeted everywhere. It's much better on James's side. At least you can catch fish with a basket. Too bad, we only catch one tiny one at a time. I don't even feel like I need to put it on the fire. You can just shove it in your mouth. There's always meat to eat though, but it takes energy to make the trip. More than I thought. Going on like this is not the way to go. Better get a big one. James has a chance of making it to the end. It's time to grab a bow, an arrow, and go hunting. There are a lot of birds at the watering hole. It would be nice to get your hands on one. Of course, it would be nice to have antelope. And Jamie was trapped in the shelter by the rain. The roof didn't even have a chance to perfect. Just sitting there in the rain. The only good news is the fire's fine. At least it's warm and dry. Gather materials for the roof while it's not raining. If it's a 2-man challenge, I don't have to worry about the fire in the shelter. You can focus on gathering materials. The challenge of surviving alone in the wild can be really stressful. I wanted to go home several times. Just leave like that. It's a bit of a shame. I'd like to see it on camera. Prove you're not weak. Soon this side of the roof will be pretty much the same. There was no rain dripping in. Jamie feels dry enough. Will not affect their rest. That's quite an improvement. You never know when you're going to get food. Shunny was about to be exposed to the sun. I feel like I'm going black. I spent my days fishing for food. She kind of liked it. It's full of freedom. I want to be like my ancestors. To be comfortable here. Too bad there's no fish to eat. The mood is more or less affected. Working in the sun all the time isn't an option. Sharni spends most of her time resting. If it's not night, animals are more active. I wanted to work after dark. Now my stomach is rumbling again. I don't know. Other than fish, what other food could Sharni get her hands on? The camera goes to Friendo. He is practicing archery to improve his hit rate. I don't know if it's physical or the technology itself is not good. It feels like there were several opportunities to hunt. I wasn't sure I'd hit it. That's just how much practice you get. We still have to find a way to get close. As soon as I said that, I saw a herd of antelope. If only I could hunt it. Friendo immediately went around to look. I just met someone who was alone. Take the bow and aim at the target immediately. This arrow goes straight down the side. Friendo thought he had a good angle. I don't know why it's always so close. Is it really a technical failure? If we were a little closer together, I don't know if we can hunt it. The mood is so low. This is the time to be like Sharni. She was singing there. It relaxes and releases stress. It was a pretty good one. It's a pity to be disturbed by geese around. So angry, she just wanted to go hunting. The stomach is rumbling in support. Sharni has serious doubts about fish in the water. It was eaten by these geese. Start gathering materials for the rope right away. She's going to set up a noose trap. Grab them and put them in your stomach. The plants had better be soaked in water. Once softened, you can tap. This will make you more resilient. As long as they stick their heads in, they slowly shrink and tighten when they want to leave. The key is, what about the berries? If I can attract one, I could do it myself for a long time. It's just fixed to the ground. In theory, it should be possible to catch. I don't think the goose is that stupid. Keep your head down so you can eat it. Let's take a look at Jamie. It is rare to have a sunny day. I thought he was going to get up and look for food. I just lay there to keep warm. It was hard to persuade myself to get up. He's going to fetch water from the river first. Then take a look around. I was lucky to find some crabs today. Small is a little small. It would be nice to taste some meat. Direct roasting is a little wasteful. Jamie's going to wrap it in leaves. It makes it more authentic. It's not so much baked. I'd rather smoke it and steam it. The finished product looks good. The smell from the smoke is very special. It tastes better than roasted. Jamie thinks life will get better and better. What's going to happen? I don't know. But Frendo's really lost. Always on the way to a failed hunt. I wish I had a partner right now. Even if you don't do anything, I will feel more relaxed. I knew the challenge would be so difficult. Might as well go to the team challenge next door. It is not an option to continue this internal consumption. It's best to find something to distract yourself from. In that case, what can the wild do? You can't go crazy at the photographer. I ended up in a shelter doubting my life. The whole person was emaciated. Already kind of wants to quit the challenge and go home. Just leave like that. It's a bit of a shame. At least hunt something before you go back. Or this challenge will be for nothing. I was in a similar situation myself. There was a partner to share it with. When Friendo got upset, suddenly I saw some food on the floor. Get close and grab it right away. Dude, are you from the show? In an instant, Friendo felt good again. Don't look at it as a small piece of meat, but enough to be happy. It's been too long since I've tasted meat. I could eat a whole bunch of them myself. Friendo doesn't think he's going to catch anything bigger. Might as well look at something smaller. And James is already on his way to other waters. He wanted to hunt for more food. I'm sure there's no problem following the river. The water looks so clear. Maybe we can clean it up later. Soon and smoothly to the side of the big pool. It is a lot better than my own. James is wondering whether to move. The food resources must be much better. It's just that there are hippos. No one dares to swim with them. I think we'll be at camp at night. James watched the hippo coming. The mood is very tense. All of a sudden, it feels like your own little swamp. This is hippopotamus territory. I have no idea at all. Get out of here and go somewhere else. I hope it's safer next time. Why don't you go back and think about it? I found a lot of reeds on the road. There's a lot of animal activity here. If you use it well, eating meat every day is not a dream. The challenge is on its 10th day. Jamie is really hungry. The monkeys nearby were screaming. I just want to shoot them down with an arrow. Or, do you want to see what you can eat around here? It would be nice to pick up some fruit. At present, it is more common to throw monkeys. It's basically either rotten or undercooked. This is the best I've been looking for. Does anyone think this papaya is edible? Jamie cut it open as soon as he gets it back. It's even better than I thought it would be. After cleaning the seeds, you can eat them. How long did not taste sweet? I was almost moved to tears. Too bad half of it was soaked. Otherwise, you will eat more happily. Let's hope the monkey gets tossed next door to the shelter, so you don't have to go so far to find it. The camera goes to Friendo, and now he's not looking for any antelope. I'd rather just eat the frogs. Not in terms of meat, though, but at least I have a chance. You have to keep your stomach stocked. Reach carefully into the water. Grab it before it reacts. It's easy to grab the inside of your hand. Tonight is finally a change of pace. What should I do with the internal organs? Put it on a skewer and set it on fire. It smells special. Taste it straight in your mouth. It's a lot better than I thought. Don't ask, how does it taste? It's just a touch of crunchy chicken. Frando thought he was good again. The camera comes to James. I was woken up by an animal by the stream. Sounds like a hippopotamus walking around. It's like hyenas looking for prey. I can't mess with either of them. The mood is so tense. It's a hippopotamus looking for food. James was scared in the shelter. There really isn't a way to deal with a hippopotamus. It's even worse on Jamie's side. I don't know if it's the papaya. My stomach suddenly spasms. The pain was so bad he couldn't sleep. I'm sure I didn't quit because of my health. Vomiting and vomiting all night. It's impossible to lie down and rest. I barely made it to dawn. The mood is so low. He did not expect to find himself with such a problem again. There wasn't much to eat. I emptied my stomach last night. To deal with situations like this, he decided to get some eucalyptus bark down. Soaking these in water will help with the stomachache. There are only two things that can happen when you're done. Or stay and challenge. Or be sent home for a feast. He sees nothing wrong with his wild survival challenge. Just a little bit of bad luck. The bark of the eucalyptus here is cooked. It's black. It's kind of like herbal tea. It smells really weird. Are you sure this is going to make you feel better? This feels even higher than I thought. I don't know if it works. Well, that's a lot of energy anyway. James avoids being trampled by a hippopotamus. Collected a lot of sticks to make a fence. Not that they can withstand a hippo attack, but at least there's a time to react. Sharni hasn't given up fishing yet. Check the fishing line every day for presents. And I don't think the noose is going to work either. The mood is getting lower and lower anyway. We were promised plenty of food. Why does it feel like it's all moved somewhere else? Sharni felt sure she hadn't prayed enough. Our ancestors didn't give away food. I wish I had a partner right now. At least we can ask our ancestors if they like it. Unfortunately, talking to yourself doesn't help. Sharni seems a little jumpy right now. I'm afraid I'll sacrifice the photographer the next minute. You have to tell me who's the worst. That must be Tyler then. Early, because of their own arrogance. Waste a lot of time and energy on the fire. It's hard to eat protein all the time. The body is getting weaker and weaker. I want to go home to my daughter. I made a deal with her that I would finish the challenge. But now it looks a little precarious. We have to put our hopes in the river. I wish I could have some small fish and shrimp. My body is too weak. I had to strap on an iron pan to keep myself from being washed away. Soon came to the river. Usually the food is under the rubble. It was supposed to be a long search. I didn't expect to get a shrimp all at once. The mood is so good. I feel like I don't even need to put it in the pan. Just eat it raw and you're done. As more and more shrimp are found, Taylor just got more and more excited. All the hustle and bustle till 5 prawns. If nothing else, there will be an accident. When did you lose the lid? How happy you were laughing. How low I feel right now. She didn't think she would make such a mistake. That's why I said we should eat it when we catch it. Look, there's nothing here. Now Tyler just wants the river to wash him away. There wasn't any food to eat. You can't make yourself drink to the end. I don't think Tyler has a chance anyway. Unless the show brings food to your door. I wouldn't have made it to the end. Shani has calmed down on her side. She thinks her ancestors will protect her. It's just that the food delivery ran a little over time. I still have a lot of fat. Think of it as weight loss. As soon as I said that, I noticed that the fishing line was in stock. Sure enough, the ancestors couldn't bear to starve themselves. That's enough to feed yourself. So there's something to be said for praying. I hope the ancestors send more. Sharni says she can eat as many as she wants. Take the catfish back to the shelter to cook. I'm so happy, I'm just singing. She thought it would be easy to get through 21 days. As long as there are no major physical problems, I can survive to the end of starvation. Catfish is really good to roast. Shani thinks this is the life she should live. I hope it goes the same way. Taylor's side is falling apart. Can't think of any way to change it. It just feels like a bad start. It's what's causing so much pain. How many days do you think she's going to last? It's only going to be a day or two. Let's see if there's a reversal. While most of the runners were still starving, this woman has had a good life because she can catch a giant catfish with her bare hands. Compare the two side by side. It's hard to imagine how you got it. Look how good the meat is in there. They say sashimi is also good, or it could be like next door. Use the leaves to wrap the meat. This will allow the meat to retain more juice. It will taste more delicious. I don't know which one you like better. The challenge continues on day 12. Tyler hasn't eaten meat in days. I had a hard time catching shrimp yesterday. I didn't think the pot would be washed away by the river. No flamethrower from the start. To now lose food. Tyler was so emotionally devastated. I want to give up the challenge and go home and hug my daughter. How hard does he think he's trying? It's impossible to complete the challenge. Thinking back to being bullied as a child. I don't have any friends I can make. I thought I had that experience. Any difficulties in the back are no problem. But it's time to meet. It feels really bad. Now I just have to keep my spirits up. See if you can set a trap to catch something to eat. Tyler is going to make an L7 trap. This comparison is simple and effective. Now look around. Where do we fit in? There's a pretty obvious mark here. Something must have passed through here recently. Taylor didn't even think twice about setting it up. As long as something touches, I'll have a good meal for myself tomorrow. James is also struggling with food. It's really hard to get enough to eat. There's a hunting trail right on the ridge. They all lead to the creek. Ambushes are theoretically much more successful here. Think about where the wind blows. Can't scare off prey by smell. James thinks this is just the right place to shoot. You don't know when it's going to happen. It takes a lot of patience. Cheun also got off to a good start. It was hard to go hungry every day. Smear yourself with ashes as a sunscreen. She doesn't want a UV sunburn. The most important thing is to apply it around the eyes. It can effectively avoid being dizzy by the sun. Already. Now, where's the meat? There's still a lot of food hidden under the rock. The more common one is definitely the snake. I mean, a bite would be awful, but it would be nice to get one. Che and lay to the height to see what is around. In front of the nature, they're really very small. This side of the pond looks good for fish, but I've been looking for a long time. It's just a couple of tadpoles. Keep looking up at the source. Didn't find anything along the way. I wonder if I'm in the wrong place. The camera goes to Carla. Don't know why you have lice. Every day you worry about getting into your body. I used to get annoyed by the mosquitoes. There's still a bunch of mangoes to eat. I can't let these gadgets knock me down. Trying to make it to the last day. You have to get enough protein. All she could think about was this fish basket. Even if a whole little fish comes in every day. Carla is also confident that she can complete the challenge. The other traps didn't work. Let's hope this changes things. Bring the fish blue to the water's edge immediately. The little fish around here don't like it. We can only use some snails as bait. I think the fish around here will like the smell. Anyway, just set it up, okay? Look forward to the surprise of the fish basket tomorrow. Che-un walked some distance along the water. Didn't find any food. It looks like it's getting dark soon. The mood is too anxious. I want to go back to hungry. I didn't realize there were giant catfish in the pond. Without hesitation, Chaun immediately took off the hide and went into the water. The catfish isn't moving. Must have been chilled by the water. Kind car and immediately help it to move up. The effect is very obvious. It's just that the long hair is a little funny. There's no way to chill a catfish. Think about it, or use both hands to achieve the dream. Go through a lot. Catfish are becoming more and more vigorous. In the end, Cha-un was the best. That way we can get them arrested. It feels really good. I get one a week. How hard is it to stay up for months? She can't wait for a good meal. Look how fresh this meat is. Cha-un is going to save some food. As long as the meat is preserved properly. 5 days should be fine. I don't know if anyone's going to steal food. And James has been on his side for a long time. Being on guard all the time is really tiring. Just when I was about to give up and go back, a pig comes along. There is still some distance between the two sides. James was just about to get up and shoot. Piggy said he wanted to leave. He seriously suspected that he had been exposed. Then Piggy is here to provoke. What can I do if James is angry? Let's go back and adjust. But there are animals passing by. Just try a little harder. I'm sure we can get something to eat the rest of the time. Jamie's been starving here for 14 days. I was just a little bit full before. I didn't find any food, but I found a hollow log. This tunnel is perfect for a trap. Cut a few little holes in it. Then block the end with a rock, so the other fish can't get out. You know, fish don't turn around. Once you get in, you're stuck in there. Jamie thinks there's a good chance he'll get something to eat. You have to spend a lot of money on bait. Resist the temptation to pick out the beef. I wonder if these will work for fish. It doesn't matter that much anymore. First, put something in the water to see. Do you think you can really catch fish? That's the best life I've ever had. The catfish is a little too much to swallow. The feeling of being full is really good. I wish I had a partner right now. Cha-un wants to share the food. Such a happy moment. I almost feel like I'm on my own. Maybe the show should arrange for the animals to get together. Jamie's got nothing to eat. From time to time, you can hear the sound of a leopard. I was completely afraid to sleep. There's no weapon in that hand at all. I just called the show crew. I think we're pretty much all chewed up. Jamie can only see by the light of the camera. I can barely get a visual. The mood is so tense. I don't think you're actually going to fight a big cat. Encounter predators in the wild. You must not panic. The more scared you are, the closer the other person gets. Look each other in the eye. It's the only way to deter the other side. Most of the time it works. If not, it'll be on the news tomorrow. The challenge continues on day 13. Tyler wakes up and checks the traps. Now, both physical and mental state are already at breaking point. The traps are useless here. Taylor has lost his motivation to continue the challenge. Now, if I could just get the whole cow here, I could swallow it myself. The show said this place was rich in resources. I feel like I've been tricked into suffering. It's hard on Jamie's end, too. The neighbor big cat became more and more active. I dare not sleep at night. There are a lot of things that need to be done during the day. The mood is so low. How about we look at the trap first? The good news is there's fish to eat. The bad news is you can't do it yourself. I had to cut it open with a knife. It's a lot bigger than I thought. He can't wait for a good meal. This is a critical turning point. As long as it keeps going, I have a good chance of completing the challenge. Wrap the fish in leaves and bake. This will retain more juice. It's been so long since I've had meat. It tastes better than anything, you know. It is highly recommended that nearby restaurants also arrange it. You don't need any seasoning. It makes it so delicious. Jamie's fine with a few more. I hope the rest of the day will get better. Friendo's side is still on the hunt. He felt like he wanted to fill his stomach. This bow hunt is more important than anything else, especially the time difference to see the prey. He needs to find someone who's slow, so there's a chance to hunt. Arrows like this get away before they even get out. I hate to see it. I really didn't give it a chance. Now they say there's a storm coming. Frando's going back to fortify the shelter now. Who thinks about rain in the dry season? There's no way to go hunting right now. The rain came faster than expected. I can only speed up the construction. At least let the fire protect it. Keep gathering materials to put on the surface. The fire looks like it could go out any minute. Friendo wasn't prepared for the cold. We need more wood than we thought. There are all kinds of problems in the challenge. Even if it's just a small mistake, could have led to a total loss. There was a steady drip of water on this side of the roof. My body is wet now. It is easy to catch cold if not dried in time. Don't look like you're just throwing wood on it. This requires constant adjustment of structural positions. Make sure it doesn't suddenly collapse. Through Friendo's constant efforts, it's barely keeping the fire going. It's cold. It's better than being in the rain. Taylor's side was the worst. Hungry, cold, and torrential rain. Rain kept falling in, the shelter that was getting wetter and wetter. Tyler couldn't sleep at all, except to hold yourself tight. There's nothing you can do about it. I don't know how long this will last. The challenge is on its 14th day. James takes time to gather firewood every day. The body is too weak. Take a break every time you work. Food is needed so that the body can get better. The traps we created were useless. There's plenty of food around. I don't know why you can't get food. And James couldn't figure out how to fix it. Do we really have to carry on until the challenge is over? He had no confidence in it at all. I mean, it really is one day at a time. Taylor's side hasn't given up on the challenge, despite the rain last night. But she had to keep going. Take these back to fortify the shelter. The challenge is hard enough as it is. It can't be made worse by rain. Today is about perfecting the shelter. It's been a long time since I've had a good meal, but the body fat can hold out for a while. Tyler thinks if we just hang in there, we'll take off when we get food in the back. Boy, she can starve if this can meet the challenge. I mean, he had to give it a thumbs up. How about we take a look at Carla? The trap didn't work out as expected. Even if there's mangoes, there is no way to stop the weakness. I feel dizzy every time I stand up. It greatly affects the efficiency of survival in the wild. For now, all I can do is drink more water. Despite being so tired, Carla continues to go out looking for food. As long as it fits in your mouth and goes down, I won't miss out on everything I can eat. I was lucky today. A small snake was found on the road. I mean, it's still going to take a bite though. But I was so hungry. Try it no matter how dangerous it is. Carla picked up the stick and leaned in. Snakes are tougher than you think. I knocked for a long time before nothing happened. My hands are shaking right now. If you don't notice when you're walking, I could have called the show on the spot. Now is not the time to be happy. Get back there and clean it up. The only way to relax is to cut off the snake's head. Be careful with it. We all know snakes haven't lost their nerve. It still reacts when you decapitate a snake. It would be very careless to get bitten. Carla did it from a distance too. Now I can finally relax a little bit. We'll have our roast later. You can use the parts you don't eat as bait. It's theoretically easier to get food back there. Although the snake doesn't have much flesh, but it does taste good. It's still classic chicken. Carla's in a much better mood. If I could eat meat every day. Welcome everyone to come here for vacation. Friendo, who goes hunting every day. I'm hungry enough to doubt life. You barely slept every night. Sleep deprivation is worse than hunger. The challenge is not as simple as people think. Friendo was on the verge of breaking down. I just want to go home and hug the kids right now. I'm really driving myself crazy here. I couldn't help crying. If that's how you quit the challenge. Again, Friendo felt a little discontented. I just keep feeding myself bad chicken soup. When he was about to break, suddenly there was a grasshopper there. I just reached for it without thinking. This is the best food you can eat. It's like a steak on the fire. Friendo felt fine again. And Carla didn't feel right after she ate the snake. The stomach feels very sick. I'm starting to doubt my life. Just sit back and relax for now. I've eaten snake meat before. No physical problems at all. Maybe it's been too long without meat. It's a little hard on the gut side. Karana began to vomit again. Is that why she's being sent home? Let's wait and see what happens next. Ever seen a rabbit bigger than a thigh? You can tell by the color of the meat. Put straight into the pan and cook. Don't ask me what that smell is. Look at the Maillard reaction. What kid next door doesn't want to cry? Suddenly feel the turtle meat in his hand is not fragrant. It's just filling the stomach. But it's a lot better than eating small fish. If it was me doing the challenge. I'm afraid you don't even have worms to eat. The challenge continued on day 14. Jamie used to catch fish in a trap. My body is finally feeling a little better. But I want to see the challenge through. We're going to have to get more food. He was ready to take a look around. It's very nice and sunny now. Didn't do well in the last challenge. It didn't go so well this time, but for so long. You have to work harder to complete the challenge. I happen to find a hollow log on this side. It's the perfect thing to use as a trap. He is confident of catching more fish. The old rule is cut a few holes in here, so the fish can get in there, according to their habits. It just keeps pushing it in, with leftover fish scraps as bait. Jamie is confident that he can meet the challenge. The only problem is that the mosquitoes are active again. Let's set the trap first. How about we wait and see? The camera goes to Sharni. First thing I do when I wake up is check my fishing line. I used to get my food from here. It's just that each harvest takes a little longer. I was really hoping for a fish today. Shani felt sure the ancestors would satisfy her. Grateful came to the river to check. There was movement on the fishing line. The bad news is no fish were caught. The good news is we got the turtle. Shani thinks it must be a gift from the ancestors. This has to be taken care of. Do you have any suggestions for this turtle? Turtle jelly is definitely not going to do it anyway. Sharni can only take the simplest and most effective method. Make sure it's authentic enough to make the kid next door cry. Crack the shell open first. This will take a little effort. The color inside is so beautiful. Thank your ancestors again for your love. Put the meat in a pot and simmer. There's no seasoning in it. What's the idea of blanching? It's all cooked in one pot. Shani thinks it tastes better than fish. It would be nice to add a little more salt. If the ancestors could send one every day. Be sure to go back to 5-star reviews and not cashback. I have more energy to face challenges now. I can't wait to see what the ancestors will deliver tomorrow. Carla, on the other hand, was not so lucky. He started vomiting and diarrhea after eating snake meat. How happy I was to catch the snake. How bad it feels to vomit right now. This is how challenges have gone wrong before. It's going to take a long time to recuperate. Carla was worried her body wouldn't be able to handle it. Better find something to heal it. Thinking back to the days with my parents. They've got some Alzheimer's. Sometimes I forget my name, but my parents were supportive of the challenge. So stick to whatever she says. You can't give up because of this little difficulty. We need more antibiotics. I had a partner to help me with my challenges. I'm on my own now. She still has a lot of work to do. You can imagine how stressful it is. The camera goes to Taylor. She had been starving for a long time, looking at the water thoughtfully. It's too late for water, no matter how poor the food. Tyler is going to go into the water and look for it. I just couldn't find it after looking for it. Instead, he gave himself a cold. I thought today would be another day of starvation. I didn't think there was a snake lying like that. Taylor certainly couldn't miss the treat. Grab the machete and go for it. Hold the snake gently, snake. It's a little smaller though, but it's better than being hungry all the time. You have to be careful how you handle it. Don't get bitten by this tooth. It's too small. Might as well use it as bait. Taylor thought it over. Decided to use it as bait. If I can catch a fish, it's definitely worth more than eating it. I handled the line myself. It's going to be better than what we bought. What about the fish here? Tyler got so big. I feel so hungry for the first time. It's not going to work for too long. Let's hope we see some fish bite. The camera goes to Friendo. The rain at night made me very uncomfortable. You barely slept. It was hard to see the light coming out. My body feels a little better. It's just a long period of sleep deprivation. Friendo wanted to go to sleep. There's just so much more that needs to be done. The first and most important thing is to find food. After being washed by the rain, Friendo found it harder to hunt. There's water everywhere. After all, there is no guarantee that the prey will come. What advantages do you have now? To see what else is around. I wish the menu could be a little richer. I was lucky to see a hole, and it's still relatively fresh. Friendo guessed there must be a rabbit here. It would be nice if it worked out. He's going to use the surrounding materials to create a trap. Try to fit in here. You have to learn to adjust. Try more possibilities. Friendo weaves the bark. It's strong enough to hang the rabbit. That lasso trap he made, that was a classic. As soon as the rabbit passes by, at least a 50-50 chance of catching it. And Friendo is pretty confident about it. I don't know when the rabbit will be back. If there is no harvest, he had to go back to the hunt. And after Sharni's turtle feast, the whole person that is relaxed a lot. She didn't think she was going to fail. After all, the ancestors are blessed. I feel like I can do this lying down when I thought it was going to stay that way. Sharni accidentally cut her hand. I don't know if it's going to affect the challenge. The challenge continues on the 15th day. Sharni, that's not getting better. That's because I didn't sleep well all night. All I can do now is call a doctor. It's a lot deeper than I thought. Don't expect to use it until the challenge is over. Sharni can only complete the challenge with her right hand. She felt like the sky was falling in. Even if the ancestors send food, it's hard to handle with one hand. Besides sitting there wondering about life, there really wasn't anything to do. The mood is getting worse and worse. It feels like the ancestors can't even cover themselves. Looks like we're going to have to keep working on this challenge. The camera goes to Carla. My body feels a lot better already. Not as bad as before. I'd rather be hungry. I don't want to eat that snake again. Practice your archery and see if you can use it. The previous challenge was to hunt wild boar. It's a lack of opportunity for myself. If only the prey would take the initiative. The neighborhood looks like animal activity. Kara's here, trying to decide whether or not to ambush. It takes a lot of time and energy. After a short thought, I still think we can give it a try. By collecting the surrounding materials to build, we'll have a little barrier in no time. Theoretically undetectable to animals. Shani's not in a good mood here. Just stay in the shelter and talk to myself. I hope this will help us communicate with our ancestors. Let the body can get better quickly. If you're working with one hand, even building a fire can be a big problem. Shani felt like she was going to cry at her own stupidity. The challenge was going so well. Why is this happening now? I can't bend my fingers. Going on like this is not an option. Shani's thinking about going home. I can't even handle a fire on my own, not to mention getting food. It's definitely something to think about. The camera goes to Friendo. I don't know if the trap we laid before worked. If only I could catch a rabbit. I really need some meat for energy. What Friendo didn't expect. Traps are useful, but not much. The noose has been chewed off. Turns out there are rabbits after all. He's going to use better materials this time. Re-upgrade the lasso. I hope that's a good way to get food. Or I'll be back in the hunt. It's a big physical challenge. And Jamie's not doing so well either. I thought I'd catch some fish from the river. I didn't think the river would drop so much. If the water level continues like this, I wouldn't even have a problem drinking water myself. Jamie also fantasizes about being able to eat meat on the hour. Looks like it's another hungry day. The mood is so low. These are the only nuts you can eat right now. If I had a partner right now, you can explore further afield on your own. I'm not stuck here taking care of the shelter. Let's roast some worms first. I'm curious to eat this every day. Can the body really hold out that long? You have to tell me who's the worst. That must be Sharni. No partner can provide warmth. On the embers of the fire. It's hard to keep out the cold. Just try to add some firewood to it, hoping to get the fire going again. Though it is said to be successful in getting the warmth of the flame, but do it with one hand. You can imagine how difficult it is. I just hope this fire doesn't go out again. Day 16 of the challenge. It's not even light in Kara's day. I've already set out to find food. If it wasn't for the snake, I wouldn't be this weak myself. Although he said he was out now worried about being attacked by other animals. But it's better than lying there hungry all the time. Suddenly, the birds around came alive. That's definitely giving himself away. So mad Carla didn't know what to say. Sunny wakes up to a light rain. This side of the fire was almost extinguished. Can only be protected by the body. Despite trying very hard, but it still didn't hold the fire. This is going to be over for good. Trying to start a fire with one hand. She might as well use her tongue on fire. Instead of staying here and torturing yourself, might as well go home and get some rest. Soon the show came to ask questions. It was too much for Sharni. I really need to go back for a good meal. And we need to take care of the wound. If I didn't get hurt by accident, I am sure I can successfully complete the challenge. Accidents are one thing you never know. At the end of the show, the team exits the challenge with Sharni. It's such a shame. There are only a few days left until the end of the challenge. Judging by the state she's in, you can survive for days on water alone. I wonder if she'll ever get a chance. Shani felt so sorry for the ancestors. We're gonna have to get some meat back. The challenge was not successfully completed, but I'm already content. Let's hope everyone else completes the challenge. The camera goes to Friendo. He mainly wants to catch rabbits through traps. I had no hope at all. Didn't expect a surprise on this side of the cave. The lasso trap caught a big guy. It was amazing. I can't believe the noose took this out. It was the first time Friendo had seen such a big rabbit. If I could get one every day, I could have stayed alone for the last month. Or take the time to deal with the rabbit clean. There's more meat in there than you thought. Pull the skin off as completely as possible. It had been a long time since Friendo had seen so much meat. Too excited to know what to say. Put all the meat in the pot and cook. The meat is so delicious. You can feel it across the screen. My stomach is already clamoring for rabbit legs. If I hadn't known it was fresh from the hunt, I thought it was from a takeout. It's really great. Friendo can even taste beef. Unprecedented satisfaction. Feel like you're not eating anything back there. I was able to successfully complete the challenge. Taylor's still trying to find it. She had no idea that food was so scarce here. Seriously doubt the crew picked the wrong place. The big grasshopper lay there for days. Not even a small fish has been attracted. This is very unreasonable. Tyler could only look up the hill. I hope to find some wild vegetables and fruits to eat. A busy day is only an hour of cactus. Don't ask why are there in the jungle. She doesn't even know. It just doesn't taste good in the dead of night. Taylor really needs a partner to blow off some steam or talk to the camera all the time. Sooner or later, there will be mental problems. She just wanted someone to talk to. There was no mention of carnivores. I was so scared that I woke up. Just make some noise to drive it away. It's going to be another sleepless night. Finally came to 17th day. Woke up with a bunch of broken branches. Since not eating meat thick, trance every day, don't know what to do. I really need food to fill my stomach. The camera goes to Carla. She couldn't find any food. Just to check the basket. I don't know if I'm going to surprise myself. There are still small fish around. Carla felt there was some hope. Too bad there's only a little fish in there. The other fish are too small. Can all go straight from the fish blue. Although the fish is a little smaller, but it has to be cooked well. I think it's so small. It's more nutritious to eat raw. And Jamie's in the shelter, stuck in the rain. He's lucky he can hold the fire. We'll have to wait until the rain stops. But it didn't stop until dark. This heat alone is not enough. If the fire goes out, I'm afraid I can go home early. The body is feeling more and more uncomfortable. I don't know if Jamie's going to make it to the end. The wilderness version of the seafood buffet has a lot of holes. You can't expect to be big. That shrimp is a tiny one. It would be nice to get you a taste of something fresh. You have to catch the fish yourself. Probably only a few on one trip. There's very little meat to eat in the belly. Even if you're lucky enough to get a bigger one. Still not enough to fill my stomach. What? Is that enough to finish the challenge? The challenge continued on day 18. Jamie was tortured by the rain. My hands and feet are so cold that I can hardly feel them. Just barely holding on by shaking. What he didn't get was, why do mosquitoes come on rainy days? It really drives people crazy. The wood had been soaked by the rain. It's not easy to burn up. Every now and then, ants come out. Under these environmental conditions, even with a firearm, Jamie couldn't light the fire. The mental state is getting worse and worse. The camera goes to Carla. My stomach's been whining and hungry. Mango, eat too much stomach, also uncomfortable. The only hope is in the fishers. If only I could get a big fish to eat. I feel more confident that I can survive the challenge. But inside, there was nothing to gain. The bait got chewed up by the little fish. Carla didn't realize there weren't any big fish here. I should have made the gap smaller. Well, at least you can eat the baby fish on the hour. I don't have the energy to readjust now. Can only go back to the bait theory. Little fish strolled around his feet. While Carla was thinking about getting a smaller one, suddenly a snake appeared in the water. Ever since I vomited after eating snake meat, she had no more thoughts about it. I just wish I could get away from them. It's important to go back to the shelter and rest. And Taylor had a harder time. I've been living on plants every day. Such a life is really not human. I wish I had some protein. She's forgetting what meat tastes like, you know? The body is already on the verge of collapse. It's all about willpower, even though it's already so hard. Tyler wanted to keep going. Let's get some water and fill up. It's the only way to calm the stomach for a while. There are fewer resources around than we thought. I don't know why so many cactus. Clean the spines off the surface. Then you can set it on fire. It tastes like pickles. I just eat this stuff every day. No matter how good it is, it can get tired. And too much of this is bad for the stomach. It's been a rough life. Carla's side decided to get a fish basket after all. If we catch enough of them, I'm still able to fill my stomach. Now the bait is straight to full anyway. Just waiting for the fish to come in. I hope the body can hold up. James is also struggling with food. There's plenty of food in the pool. His harvest is not very good. His goal now is to bring up the whole catfish. Crush the leftover fish head. If we use these as bait, I'm sure it'll attract all the catfish. James is very confident about that. You can hunt with a bow and arrow. Things are looking up. When did the catfish get here? James couldn't wait any longer. Go straight into the water and look for it. The catfish are getting louder and louder over here. James approached as slowly as he could. I wish I could just shoot it in the face. After a long wait, I finally found my chance. The gesture was so handsome, but it didn't hit. Now the water is black and muddy. Can't tell where the catfish is going. It's getting late. I should get some rest myself. I hope we catch the catfish tomorrow. Carla was too hungry to have strength. I just want to lie in the shelter and stare. Of all the challenges, this is the most hungry. You have to check the basket if you feel bad. It went better than expected. It's a little small, but it's meat. I should have known the fish were so easy to catch. You should have made the basket smaller in the first place. The big fish basket did get us a crawfish. Today's harvest is not bad. Barely enough for a snack. It's easy to cook through. It smells really good. If only they were a little bigger. Jamie finally got the fire going. It's just too bad it doesn't burn well. Can only slowly add firewood to sustain. Compare it to the previous challenge. Both their physical qualities, again, mental state, is much better than before. There's just so little food here. I can't even show off my hunting skills on camera. I came here thinking it was a good thing not to have a partner. Now I know how happy the two-person challenge is. At least I don't have to talk to the camera every day. It's really hard to change that. It's only been a few days since the challenge ended. But the body is really weak, may not be able to withstand it. Every day is really hard. Why don't we see what's going on at the trap first? Good luck catching a catfish today. It's not easy living here. Get this cleaned up right away. Old-fashioned wrapped in leaves and roasted. It's the same familiar smell. What could be more delicious? I was about to cry. The body finally regained some strength. Day 19 of the challenge. Taylor's not a great sleeper. I can hear my stomach playing all the time. I feel the acid in my mouth. Eating cactus every day is not the answer. Must get enough meat to eat. Otherwise, I wouldn't last a day. Tyler is struggling to quit the challenge. What if there's no meat today? I think I might as well go home. Taylor went into the river to look for shrimp. It's a familiar position, a familiar approach. I'm not going to make any more stupid mistakes. That lid still goes nowhere. This time we'll use the package. I'm sure it won't be washed away again. Tyler slowly moved the nearby rocks away. There's a lot of shrimp out here, although each of them is not big. But as long as the numbers come up, I can still fill my stomach. I feel like I can complete the challenge again. Tyler starved for 19 days. It's a decent meal at last. The shrimp is cooked. Tyler didn't forget to set them up. There are 9 shrimp to eat. I was almost moved to tears. She pulled the shell off. Chew the meat slowly in your mouth and taste it. It's the first time shrimp tastes so good. We have 2 days to evacuate. It's certainly not enough on its own. Jamie wants to look further afield. The plan is to make a raft out of bamboo. Then we can follow the river, hoping to find more food. It's not that hard to set up. I'm just tired of cutting and moving materials. Jamie wanted something a little simpler, as long as it helps people float. I miss having a partner to help me out. You don't have to make yourself so tired. He just tied it up with vines. It doesn't look very strong. Is it really possible to float on this surface? And James is exhausted on this side. The traps we laid earlier didn't work. It just feels like a bunch of garbage. In addition to collecting firewood every day, it's like nothing really pays off. We don't have enough strength left to evacuate. James is weak enough to quit the challenge. Only 2 days left. Do we really have to give up and go home? Day 20 of the challenge. James was visibly emaciated. I ate every edible plant in the neighborhood. This is the only one that tastes better so far. Try to pick the younger parts. Put these in a pot and boil them. It takes a while to eat. James takes the most primitive approach to catching fish. Hopefully this will give us some meat. Only 2 days left to complete the challenge. Even a small fish is enough for him. James does not walk very fast. Try to let in as many fish as possible. You can still catch a fish in one trip. These go to the ashes and cook, plus the picked leaves. In theory, it should be up to the challenge. It just doesn't taste very good. If it wasn't for the challenge, he will never eat this leaf in his life. It tastes bad even with fish. I just want to throw it up. James doesn't want to eat these anymore. The camera goes to Taylor. Both physical and mental. He thinks he's reached his limit. Only 2 days left. What do you say to push the limits? Talking to himself in front of the camera. Trying to believe there's still a chance. Follow the map to the extraction point. The best thing is to get a raft and go out on the water. So even if you are weak, you must hold on. Fortunately, the surrounding materials are abundant. Cut down the reeds and tie them together. Tyler's not looking forward to food anymore. She just wants to get through the evacuation with what's left of her. These reeds will be more buoyant. It's no problem at all in the water. Tyler wants to work on the details. We'll be able to ride here to the extraction point. And Jamie's starving on the other side. A large pot of water is brewing for drinking. He can't wait to get to the extraction point. Tyler's worried about the evacuation tomorrow. I'm afraid the raft will start to fall apart before it's halfway through. Or maybe they don't have enough buoyancy. I get bored just thinking about it. Before you know it, the last day has come. James felt it was very exciting. The challenge depends on today. There is not enough food to fill the stomach. I'm still afraid I'll faint on the floor. Anyway, this is the last mile left, okay. Anything to get to the extraction point. Pack up and head to your destination. Jamie's just waking up here. The challenge was even more tiring than expected. It feels like more than 21 days. Now I just want to clean up quickly. I really don't want to stay any longer. Might as well go home early and have a nice meal. Jamie carries the raft to the river. How have you ever used it yourself? I hope it doesn't suddenly fall apart. The camera goes to Taylor. He doesn't think there's anything to miss. Everything is ready. I wonder what's going on with the raft. It's also a question of making it to the evacuation point. The raft will be reinforced before the test. Although he said his body is already very weak, but there is still strength to evacuate. It's going to be a lot easier with Jamie. Don't worry about being attacked by snakes when you're in the water. It saves a lot of energy for walking. He's made it to the other side. All right, let's get to the extraction point. Jamie's been gone for 2.5 hours. At a steady rate. Doesn't look like someone who's been starving for days. In fact, he has no energy to notice anything else. All I wanted was to get to the extraction point. It took a lot of time and effort. It's good to see something different. Prove you're at the extraction point. If there's no accident, there will be. It's a good thing Jamie's got a little cushion on his ass. Or I might end up on this floor. That's when the show car came. Jamie can finally breathe a sigh of relief. I was almost moved to tears. Now I just want to get back to a good meal. Congratulations to Jamie for being the first to complete the challenge. He thinks he can now again, if I get another chance to come over. Jamie was hoping to find a partner for the challenge. This challenge is quite difficult. 21 days, probably less than I ate in a day. Let's see what happens to the other contestants. James is trying to get to the extraction point. The road was full of troublesome thorns. I'm about to pierce my foot. Fortunately, there was a road not far ahead. You walk right down to the lake. The hippo is splashing in the water over there. Scared James to make a detour out of here. The extraction point is that way up ahead. Plenty of time for him to leave. James was in no hurry. Just walk slowly at this pace. I think we can already see the extraction point. The moment James heard the engine start, the mood is so excited. Prove yourself once again. even to face the challenge alone, with the ability to starve. James successfully completed the challenge. Now I just want to go back and have a nice bath and sleep. Of course, it's better to have some hamburgers. He's afraid he'll pass out when he relaxes. If the show invites me over next time, he has to ask what are the food resources. I don't want to go through another starvation ordeal. And Tyler was floating down the river on a raft. There was a lot of excitement along the way. Nearly capsized and sank several times. There were stone marks all over his body. It's a good thing Tyler's got some flesh to hold on to. That's when we got to the evacuation point. The whole person was so excited. From the bad start to the back of the confused helplessness. Did you barely eat the whole time? You can imagine how weak he is. Tyler was just gritting his teeth. Now I see the show's car. Finally able to relax a little. I thought it was easy to do it alone. Turns out, having a partner is so much better. Even if the other side has no strength at all. But it was nice enough to talk. 3 people have completed the challenge so far. I wonder how the rest of the contestants will do. Let's wait and see. There are plenty of foods that have more protein than beef. But these are the only bugs you can get in the wild. They are very fat and beautiful. Just put it in the water and cook. Look how tempting this is. The moment you bite it open, it's too good to chew. I don't even want to describe the taste. I wonder if this is really better than beef. Day 19 of the challenge. Although Frando had a giant rabbit before, but my stomach is still growling. Go out every day and look for food. The elephant here just finished drinking and left. Watch the water go down here. Frendo fears the water will disappear before the challenge is over. The rest of it doesn't look so good. All he could think of was to dig a well next to it. Frando has been through the naked challenge many times. I've always done challenges with my partner. It does feel different to be alone. It must be very stressful. Now for clean water. I was trying to dig deeper. I'd love an elephant to help. They do it with one kick. Now I'm afraid after digging. Elephants come here every day to drink. The camera goes to Che-un. I can still order leftover catfish on the hour. It's just getting colder and colder lately. Stay in the shelter. It's like a refrigerator. My fingers are freezing. And the Frandona puddle is out of the water. The color looks much better. Enough to last until the challenge is over. I hope the elephants are nice to the water. I don't want to dig another hole. The elephant herd from the start. Every time I run into him, I have to go around. Serious suspicion is that they scare their prey away. So far, I have never been successful in bow hunting. There was nothing Frendo could do but complain. I just hope this challenge is over soon. Carla, on the other hand, was not so lucky. I don't know why my stomach started to hurt. The state of mind is very poor. The body is also constantly breaking out cold sweat. This is not the way to go. I was afraid I wouldn't make it to evacuation day. Just look at the skin. I'll see how hard Kara is going through. Like the previous challenge, their own life more uncomfortable. I could not resist and chose to give up. Kara's going to be a lot stronger this time. Try to be positive about it. Suddenly something turned around. Man, this bug is making your scalp burn. I just hope it's in my mind. I'm afraid my head will go bald. There's a reaction on this side of the forehead. It's like burning by the fire. It's been going on for a long time without relief. Just see if there's anything that can help, you know? So far it's just dirt and running water. Hopefully it'll make the wound feel a little better. It took half an hour for the situation to ease. That made Carla feel a little better. Let's see what Cha-un is doing. She especially enjoys the sun. It warms up the body. The shelter is actually pretty good, but it can't keep out the cold. There's a cold wind blowing in the ass all the time. She is going to dispose of the hide. Wrap your ass up. It's not very complicated to make. It's just a cut, anyway, so the tape can go through. The short skirt is very effective. It warmed up instantly. I can continue to work on the challenge. It's been raining on Frendo since nightfall. The roof of the shelter is not in good shape. Every now and then a raindrop falls. If the rain were any heavier, it feels like the roof can't even hold up. Let's just hope it doesn't put out the fire. Sleep must be afraid to sleep. I just wish I had a chance to take a nap. Day 20 of the challenge. Although the rain has stopped, but the temperature did not rise. I was left shivering in the shelter. Drink some water on the hour first. Frando thinks this temperature is really unhuman. I wish the show would give me a hide. After the rain washed out the outside. It's getting wet all around. It's hard to get firewood to go home now. The only good news is, don't worry about the water. Feels like it could turn into a river. Don't know where I can get food. After the water, go back to the shelter and get warm. Chan would be better off with the hide. The problem is that there is less and less food. I said I'd be home by tomorrow, but I'd like a good meal before I leave. I don't want to be too hungry to leave. Fortunately, we found a cave. Sounds like a bee. Maybe we can eat some honey on the hour. Chae-un is a little worried about getting stung. What if it causes some kind of physical problem? That's really not worth it. Chae-un, so this whole constantly watching and wandering. I can smell the sweetness of the honey myself. You know, this bee is very aggressive. Even if we return to the shelter, there will be retaliation. Chae-un struggled for a long time. Finally decided not to take the risk. I'd rather starve than be sent away by bees. If it were you, would you risk getting the honey off? The camera goes to Carla. She's in desperate need of a food supplement. I won't have the strength to evacuate tomorrow. The little fish basket is a stable way to get snacks. If only I had 10 more. I am confident that I can complete the challenge. It was a little bit smaller, but it's better than nothing, right? Chae-un here changed the way of thinking. To get food from rotting wood. I thought we'd be lucky to get 1 or 2. I didn't expect to see so much when I opened it. I'm very pleased with the size. You don't need to do anything about it. Just put it in the pan and cook it. That's several times the protein of beef. Put it in your mouth and taste it slowly. The moment you bite it open, it's all juice. I suggest you chew a little more. It's much smoother when you swallow it. As for the taste, I really don't want to bring up memories. Let's just say a little barbecue sauce would be better. The camera goes to Carla. There's only so much meat for crawfish. Probably not enough to plug my teeth. Carla was content. I just want to chew through the shell and swallow it. I was afraid I wasn't going to make it. But after eating this meat, I feel like I could do it again. Just thunder in the distance. Looks like the last night's going to be a storm. The mood is a lot of instant down. The temperature is obviously dropping quite a bit. She didn't have the time or energy to stock up on firewood. I wonder how it's going tonight. As long as the fire doesn't go out, should the body be no big problem. It's also cold here in Frendo. The fire was the only way to keep them warm. I really want a partner right now. It's not just helping out with the fire at night. You can hug each other to keep warm. This challenge did not go well for me. It's a waste of energy most of the time. Every now and then I think about going home. I've been able to hold on to this by myself. I think I'm pretty good if I can do the challenge again. I was hoping for a partner. Even if she can't do anything, it's nice to talk to myself. I wonder why the wind is getting stronger. The body is feeling colder and colder, barely holding it off by shaking his legs. I'm not going to be able to sleep well tonight. Got to keep an eye on the fire. If this goes out, it's all over. And Frando's not going to take the night off either. And so it was until dawn. I hope I wake up tomorrow with the energy to evacuate. Carla is much worse. I didn't expect it to be this cold on my last night. The thunder never stops outside. I spent the night worrying about the shelter. This is out of Carla's mind. It feels like some mysterious force is at work. I don't think anyone's actually coming over. Carla won't be able to sleep anyway. Can only keep the fire in the rain. I want to throw myself in the fire, so you don't have to worry about getting cold. For the first time, I wish it would be early. She was afraid that something would happen to her body. If we don't give up the challenge until the last day, I'm going to regret it for the rest of my life. The mental state is getting worse and worse. Just keeping the fire going. I've used up all my energy. The rain doesn't stop. The fire can't even keep warm anymore. Now, besides praying for the rain to stop, like there's really nothing left to do. Finally came to the last day unconsciously. Freno was feeling a little tired. We're on our way to the extraction point. It was very exciting inside. I hope I can get out of here and go home soon. It's been a long time since I've eaten my wife's cooking. It's a beautiful day outside. Clean up the shelter briefly. Frando will be crossing the prairie soon. Find that giant anthill. Take a walk along the river first. Cheun is also getting ready to evacuate. Mental state that's pretty good, and in the mood to do my own makeup. Hurry up and pack up the shelter. She's going to cross 6 kilometers of desert. You meet all kinds of dangerous creatures on the road. Cheun doesn't think there's a problem. Think of it as taking in the scenery along the way. I was just starting to get in the mood. I'm not busy collecting materials. Just lay down in the shelter and rest. Although now the body is also very tired. But he's in good spirits. Go up to the top and determine your direction. Let's see what's going on with Carla. Last night's rainstorm almost sent me away. Now you can only warm up by warming up. They're evacuating today. Carla doesn't see any physical problems. We're ready to evacuate. It's a long way from the evacuation point. Just walking through the jungle is hard enough. The climb is more tiring on the riverbed. Not to mention the snakes on the road. If I'm not careful, it could have flipped, even if Carla was careful enough. But it was still pricked by thorns. It's a hell of a road back there. It's easier on the friendo's side. Go up the riverbed. Didn't encounter any dangerous animals. Just seeing lion tracks on the road makes him a little nervous. Hopefully, when we need the show crew to rescue us, show up in time. Now I am tired and thirsty. Friendo didn't want to stop and rest. He wanted to get home early and be together. I had to endure the pain across the prairie. And Cheun has reached the river. The extraction point is on the other side. She felt that she would soon be able to complete the challenge. So even if the body is tired, there was no intention of stopping to rest. Friendo is getting closer to the evacuation point. He kept following the direction of the sun. Every now and then I run into thorns on the ground. It's not a problem, just a little tired. Soon to the giant sand dunes. Friendo was wondering why no one came. Stand up here and keep looking around when I thought I was looking in the wrong place. The show car is finally here. This challenge is not an easy one. Friendo was finally able to relax. I've taken part in so many challenges. This is the hardest thing to do alone. If it wasn't for that giant rabbit, I would have quit the challenge a long time ago. He needs a good workout when he gets back. Try to make it good living the next time you're alone. The show was pretty happy with him. Guess we'll see Friendo in the next challenge. He's pretty excited right now anyway. All I can think about is my wife's cooking. And Carla's here in the jungle. The rain last night made it very wet. There is no time to complain. Get the hell out of here now. The dry riverbed is not easy to walk on. It's slippery on the stone. She didn't want to hurt herself on the last walk. The most annoying thing is that there are snakes. You have to look more closely. Soon she came to the river shown on the map. This doesn't mean that you can complete the challenge quickly. The mood is getting excited. It's just not safe to swim to the other side. Afraid of being washed away by the river. The best place to start is on the softer side. Although the journey will be a little longer, but at least you don't have to worry about being washed away. Everything's fine as long as Carla doesn't fall. There was no danger and came to the other side smoothly. The show car was already waiting for her. Carla was in the best mood ever. It's not easy to complete the challenge alone. She's more of a team player. Snake meat almost went wrong in both challenges. She thought she could go back and cook. Let's see if it's the stomach or the cooking. If you can't eat snakes in the wild, that's really half as delicious. Anyway, can you complete the challenge? Carla was more than content. I don't know if I'll get a chance to take part in the challenge. Now Cheun still hasn't finished the challenge. The extraction point is right up there. I mean, this is the last of it. But the burden on the body is very heavy. The walking speed is quite slow. You have to take a break from time to time. Cheun also spent a lot of time and energy before they reached their destination. I have to say the air up there is good. Soon a helicopter was heard coming. Car and hanging heart is finally put down. I've had a good time with this challenge. It's just too cold at night. Hide and fire just barely holding on. Cheun thinks he is terrible now. I hope the next challenge can be arranged soon, preferably with a partner. In fact, I wanted to go home on the 5th day. I didn't think I could make it this far. Don't know where to go next challenge. Let's wait and see.